Hello and welcome back. I've never made this type of video before. Most of this video is gonna be a what I knit in a week video. And now I have to warn you, it's insane. It is unhinged. I made like a lot of stuff in a week, and that is not normal. The reason I made so much in a week, to the point that I thought it would be something interesting to film, is I actually had COVID. So I was just sitting at my house doing absolutely nothing for 5 days. So we're kind of going to start the video around then, like last Monday, Tuesday. I was sick on Tuesday, and then Wednesday, Thursday, I had thought maybe I could film things like as they happened, but I couldn't because I didn't really have a voice to use. But first we have to start off on the things that I had started in my last video, and I finished them before I got COVID. So there's this tank top. It's from a cotton merino blend. The straps ended up being too stretchy, too long. It's just like entirely ribbed. The straps were a bit long, so I had to knit this little patch to hold them. You know, they're too long and slidey when they're on the shoulder, so I had to like gather them near like the upper back with this little patch that I knit on at the end. It fits pretty well. I did a lot of decreases before the waist, so that it would be pretty fitted. This is exactly 100 grams of yarn. I used all of it up, and it's just in 2x2 rib. So that, I've actually worn it, I've washed it twice, and I've worn it quite a bit around the house. My only complaint about like the design and the colors is it looks like, if you're just wearing this, it looks like a swimsuit in my opinion, which it's not a swimsuit, but just for wearing around the house in the summer, I think it's good. So again, this is not part of the what I knit in a week with COVID. I had said I was going to finish it in the last video, so I thought I would just show you that I finished it. This is also the week before I had COVID, so not a part of my official tally for what I made in a week. I made these socks. The main color is Wednesday, W-I-N-D-S-D-A-Y, Wednesday. It's a Winnie the Pooh reference. I made my grandma socks in this color, and so I had a lot of leftovers, and so I made this pair for myself, and I've got a little contrast color on the heel. I'm pretty sure it's a hedgehog. I've gotten a lot of use out of it. It's been a couple heels and a couple projects now, and it was in my Halloween knit-along cowl last year also, that gray. And I still have some of it left. Where is it? It's in here in my leftover container. This is how much of it I have left. It's very shiny, very silky soft. Yeah, I love the fiery flecks in it. So I made myself these plain socks. I was working on those while I was in the pit orchestra for Beauty and the Beast. That may have been where I got COVID, but I might have gotten it at work or just like out in the world. I don't know. And I am very fortunate that I don't get very sick. So yeah, while I was in the pit for Beauty and the Beast, we just started really late at tech every day. We were just sitting around doing nothing, waiting to play. And so, yeah. Finally, this was on my to-be-made socks plans in my last video. I did make these as well. So the first one of these I made at pit orchestra basically, and the yarn is from Goosey Fibers. I have a ton of socks, sock yarn right now from Goosey Fibers. In fact, there's more that's going to be delivered today, so I might open it and show you. I'm just addicted to her colors. I don't even know how I found her. Might have been just Googling, but so what this is she had like a summer dahlias collection, which was 12 mini skeins. I think you could pick the base, so I picked sock yarn, and it wasn't even terribly expensive either for what you get for it. So my favorite color out of these three bright ones I had for the cuff, so that you can see it like just peeking above my shoes. I don't really like bright pink, so I put it at the heel. And then this color reminds me of like Starburst. So this is 3 of the Summer Dahlias colors, so 60 grams total. I made them into socks. And these are my leftovers. So I was really cutting it close with the pink. Got almost nothing left, which is the goal. And then this is the cuff leftovers, and then the toe. So how I do this when I'm knitting socks is while I'm making the first one, I periodically, like once I'm worried I'm getting to halfway, I start weighing my yarn on a food scale. So when it gets to like about 11 grams left, so for the 20 grams, you know, you want 10 grams for each sock so that they can be exactly the same. If you want them to be the same, it's fine if you don't, but I decided I wanted them to be the same. So once you get to about 11 grams, you know you gotta like wrap it up and move on. You can let it go over to 10 because it's probably fine and you'll end up with a little bit of leftovers. But yeah, around 11 where the scale is like just starting to turn to 10, obviously you don't want to let it get down below that or you won't have half left over. So I had already finished one of these socks kind of the weekend before I found out I had COVID. I had almost done the cuff, or I was somewhere like in this part of the cuff last Tuesday. I hadn't really been feeling great. Actually thought I had food poisoning. And then I found out I had COVID and I was like, okay, I guess we're just gonna sit at home and do absolutely nothing and knit all week, which was actually really, really nice, especially because by the time I was like 2 days in, I was feeling pretty good. And so I just got to have some time at home. I did like move into the basement to try and protect my husband. It didn't work. He ended up getting COVID anyway. So on Tuesday, when I found out I had COVID, I was really loving my first sock and I was like, I want to put these on my feet like immediately. I just want them. So I spent all of Tuesday just sitting and knitting this sock. So I knit the entire rest of the sock on Tuesday and grafted it up and put them straight on my feet. I did not take them off. I slept in them. That was the day I was feeling the worst. And so the first thing I knit while I had COVID is an entire sock. I don't think that's a very strange thing to do. I think it's usual for a knitter. Now this is the part of the video where things really get unhinged. I don't know. I'm not really normally that neurotic of a person, but like this isn't a normal amount of knitting, and I acknowledge that. Now I had already started this project. I started this project in June. What it is my parents know that I've made blankets. I made one for them. I have one also out of this Lionbrand homespun yarn. They do not manufacture this anymore. It is like discontinued, I'm pretty sure, although you can still get it. Now normally when I make a blanket, I use like 4 of the same balls. And all of these are mismatched. Now I wouldn't have rolled it up like this. I didn't do this. My parents got all these leftovers from somebody who I don't even know who they are. And so I have all of these leftover Lionbrand homespun, like singular balls of it, that I have to figure out how am I gonna make these into something that makes sense. So what I had decided was that I was gonna make like prayer shawls with them, basically, which are like small blankets. Like they're blankets, but they're like shoulder blankets or lap blankets, like little blankets. And so I started with one that had 2 balls of the same color in the color Tudor. And I got a free pattern. It's called Butterfly Wings Quick Knit Throw. It's a knit pattern. That's the pattern on Ravelry. And I was about halfway into 1 ball of yarn when I picked this up on Wednesday. So I was maybe like here-ish. Somewhere around like here. And this is only 78 stitches. The pattern called for more, and I didn't want it to be like awkwardly like rectangular going the short way. So it's a free pattern. It's just on like an old website that isn't really up anymore, but it's kind of been archived so you can still see the pattern. It's one of those like squiggly ones. That's a little 70s-ish, but it's a pretty wide squiggle. I don't really think it looks like butterfly wings, to be honest, but I guess I can kind of see why they named it that. So, on Wednesday, I just started by like finishing the first ball, and that didn't take me very long, so I was like, I'm just gonna power through, and I finished this entire thing, this entire little blanket shawl thing on Wednesday. Now, I can't donate it for a while. It doesn't cover your arms when you try and wrap it around you. It kind of does. I don't know. But I ran out of yarn, so this is the size that it is. I would say it's really nice as a lap blanket though. So yeah, can't donate it yet because it's absolutely covered in COVID germs. So we're gonna give it at least 2 weeks just to be conservative, just to be nice. This is acrylic yarn, so it is washable. This, I probably wouldn't recommend using this pattern if you're going to be using it a lot and washing it, because the holes, over time, the blanket does get all like pilled and a little weird. So on my second day with COVID, I made an entire blanket. Now, the weird thing about this is like, this sock is like 64 stitches in the foot, and then some more in the gusset, and this was only 78 stitches. So when you compare like how many stitches you're knitting, this is on a size 1 needle, and this is on a size 13 needle, it's the same number of stitches and like a similar amount of rows probably to make a sock as to make an entire giant bulky fluffy blanket in one day. It's the same amount of knitting. I don't really have anything else to say about that. This has really been bothering me that I have these leftover, like what's this one? What am I supposed to do with this? And I like knitting with this, but the ends of them get really fluffy, so you have to tie them in knots first of all. This one's a good one, you can see, because it has the dark strand. You can see there's a tiny little thread that's wrapped around the fluffy parts of the yarn, so that has this squiggly shape. And so that means while you're working with it, your needle will try and stab it pretty often, and you will have to make sure that you're not splitting the yarn. So that is slightly annoying, but I've worked with this ever since I was a teenager, and I do like the results of it for soft blankets. Yeah, so I think I'm gonna make probably 2 more of those. I'm gonna have to make them stripy because some of the colors go together and some of them don't. And I don't want to make giant throws like I've made before, so I'm thinking like 2 to 3 ball per shawl. And then I was doing a lot of project planning, and if we have time, I think maybe we'll show some of that in this video too. So another thing I did on Thursday then, so now we're on Thursday, we're on day 3 of my COVID quarantine. So I've been looking for a project for this. This is also discontinued yarn. I got it in like a bag sale. It says it was $25, 1,400 yards, wool acrylic blend. This is Millefiori. It's like a jewel tone rainbow color of like a heavier fingering. It's not a light fingering. It's like a fingering-ish weight yarn. And I have 4 giant balls of it. I'm pretty sure this is also discontinued. And I have been really struggling to find a pattern for it, but I finally found one and swatched for it. It's called Twill and Plain, I'm pretty sure. So this is the stockinette swatch, and then this is it's called like chevron swatch. I messed up down there. I wasn't doing some of the wraps on the right side of the fabric. As you can see, it is going to be really pretty. I'm making a shirt, basically like a light sweater. I was debating having this be my Olympics cast-on project, but I decided a couple things. It wasn't like dramatic enough to be like, this is my Olympics project, like look how cool it is. When I show you my actual Olympics projects, you'll understand. But I did do a swatch for it, and I'm really proud because it is absolutely flawless gauge. Like, I almost never, where's my little gauge thing? I almost never get gauged this correctly on a project. Normally I just get close enough and I call it good, but like, that's my 4 inches. And the edges are curling because it's like a stockinette fabric. And there's a couple extra stitches in the stockinette part. That's why it's not exactly at the 4. So there's my 2 extra stitches, and it's at 4 inches. And even my row gauge, I don't knit 4-inch long swatches. I just do, for this one, I did 1 inch of the pattern that was supposed to be 16 rows about for an inch. So there's my 16 rows. You can't see it because it's dark, but it's perfect. And then this is meant to be 2 inches of stockinette, and you can see that it is 2 inches of stockinette. So this swatch is perfect, which means the sweater is going to be perfect. So that is something I have planned for, I think, August and September. I'm going to be working on that project, which is going to use up almost all of this yarn. And I think it's going to be, the texture of this yarn is going to be really, really, really pretty in that project. So on Thursday, I did that swatch, but I decided not to start it yet. And then, so I had this scrap from my, I made a flower block sweater pattern from the 80s in the spring, and this was some cotton blend yarn with flecks in it that I got for that project. And then this is some green yarn I've had for a long time, leftovers of it that I've used for a ton of projects, and it's infinite. So I thought these looked good together because there's green flecks in the pink. And so I was thinking I was going to make some kind of shirt with them. Now, I actually don't have enough to make a full shirt with them, but I had also a lot of remaining colors in my Dahlias collection. And so on Thursday, I started holding my Dahlias yarn double, and I started making this t-shirt. So it's a raglan. At the top, I had a leftover cream from my grandma's socks that I just redid for her, and I used the yellow for her heel. So I had like less than 20 grams of the yellow, which is good because I wanted the colors to blend together. And if you do exactly 20 grams of everything, then you're not gonna be switching partway through. So if you have like 2 colors and you're holding them together to blend them, you want like one of them to keep going and then to switch to your third new color so that it'll be tiered as you're adding them. So it was good that I had a partial little amount to start with. So I had the yellow for the start, and then I had, I think, 2 peaches, and then a lighter pink, and then my favorite one was this medium pink with all the flecks. I think those flecks are so pretty. And then I got into some purples, and I decided to save the purples. Actually, I really want to use these on some socks because they're so gorgeous. So I really want them to be like the cuffs of some socks or part of the foot of some socks where I actually get to see all the individual colors. So these purples, I just use them at the very end, and I'm saving them so they're going in my scrap fingering bag. I used the free flax DK pattern just to get like an approximate stitch count. Right now, I have this on like 2 sets of long needles so that I can try it on. So on Thursday, I started this and I almost finished the raglan part. So I was like about here in the raglan on Thursday, and then on Friday I finished the raglan. I did these little sleeves. I should have made the raglan even longer so that this is like right up in my armpit, but it's so soft that I don't even care. I don't mind. I think it's fine. It's fitting me pretty well. I did a bunch of decreases. There we go. I did a lot of decreases in the underarm so that I would have less stitches around my waist. And then finally, trying to keep track of what day it is. It was Thursday and Friday that I did most of this. And then on Sunday, which was like my day 6 where I didn't really have COVID at all anymore, I did the purple section here. And then I did this first color work patch. So this is the only one that's actually a DK yarn. Everything else I'm holding double. So I did the purple and one strand of the green together for 2 rows to blend them. Then I did a couple rows of green. And the flower patch is just some color work patches that I have from the floral doodle cowl from my spring cowl. So I basically just reused that pattern, and I had done some math and picked this stitch count, which I think is 144, so that it would be a multiple of 24. So when I was decreasing, I did the math so that I would end up at 144 stitches, and it's fitting me pretty well. I actually wish it was a little bit looser, but I don't want to add an entire another section of color work. And if I had done another repeat of it, I would definitely be running out of this pink. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna do another one of the same flower. So I have like a smaller, skinnier flower in the middle, and then I'm gonna repeat this entire top section again so that it's symmetrical. And then I might do a little bit more pink if I'm trying to use it up. And then hopefully I have green left over enough to do the hem. So yeah, this is a scrap t-shirt. These are the scraps I was originally trying to use. And then this is almost like sunset looking, so it's a little like sunset, and then there's like a field of flowers. I think it works. I think it makes sense. I just put this on today because I was just trying this on, and my husband commented how the colors are like really flattering for me and it looks good, and I would agree with that. I don't normally wear yellow, but I think these like peaches and pinks are like flattering enough with my skin tone. It's probably hard to tell because the walls down here in this room are the ugliest color in the entire world. So yeah, this is my third project for when I made in a week with COVID. This last colorwork patch, so these 9 rows here, I did that today after work. So it's Monday, and so I started this last Thursday. So Thursday, Friday, and not work on this on Saturday, and then Sunday, Monday. And this is where we're at. I'm planning to finish it pretty soon and wear it to some concerts that we're going to later in the week, so this coming weekend. So for a collection that came out in June, to have like completely used it up almost the following month is pretty good. We are actually consuming the things we buy here on this channel. I'm not that much of a hoarder. I don't like to buy things unnecessarily, and I like to use things that I'm consuming. I want to actually use them. I don't think that's that much of a hot take, but I've been seeing like an underconsumption kind of trend on TikTok, and I've really been loving how where I'm at with my yarn right now, I'm really really working through a lot of the stuff I've had for a long time, and I'm realizing that it's like not really my fault, a lot of this stuff I have, because like it's a lot of what I have is leftovers from presents I made for people, but I did kind of accidentally use up a lot of my stash on this project. Now I know you're probably thinking that is not that much knitting for your 5 days of COVID. That's not an insane amount of knitting. Maybe you are, I don't know you, but maybe you're thinking like that's a normal amount to knit at home in 5 days. That's not all that I made. So on Friday, I had been planning these colors for a long time. I don't even know where to start before I show you what I did. So this is not what I made this week. This is a project from January. So this is my Herbalist Swoncho. It is gorgeous. I can't wear it a lot in July because it's very thick. The pattern is by Olga Putano. And at the time, I had my eye on a second one of her patterns, and I did end up buying it. I've been holding on to the pattern for a long time. So this is a very challenging pattern. It's a little small for me because I was worried about running out of one of the secondary colors. It has all of these ladder backs that I did for the color work. The color work is just very challenging. So I didn't have it in me to start the second Swoncho until this last week when I decided it was going to be my Olympics project. So this color here, it's called Pollen. It's by Knitted Wit. I used up half of a ball of this, making my father-in-law a sweater with bees on it. I apologize if you actually watch my videos and know this. I used up half of a ball, and I really wanted the scraps for this project, and then their house burned down, and so that sweater is gone, so I have to remake it. So this is my remade bee sweater collection. I went and bought more of a main color for it. So I panicked recently and had to order more of it online so that I would have enough for the bee project and to use the extras in my other Swoncho. So I really need to wind that. So I had that color, and then I am using the leftover pink, the leftover rose from this. This originally was going to be part of the Swoncho, but it was too dark, so you couldn't see it with the gray, so I had to buy the rose color. So I already had this maroon color, so this is my new main color. So I had the maroon and the yellow and the rose, and then I had trouble picking this, but I picked this really light gray leftovers from my niece's baby blanket, and these are all like DK-ish weight. So those are my 4 colors, and this is my Olympics cast-on project. It's the Sunny Swoncho. It's a size 4. It's gonna be like wider than my Herbalist Swoncho because this is a bit too tight on the top. I started this on Friday. Thankfully, I didn't have to do a swatch because I'm just using the same needles and the same gauge. It's the same designer, exactly the same pattern and instructions, just aside from the charts. So based on how that one fit me at this gauge and these needles, I was able to choose. I was going between size 3 and size 4, and then especially after I ordered more, I had to order more red yarn from what I originally had also. So I went up to a size 4 out of 9 sizes. So I did make this in 2 days. I finished all of chart A, and then I'm on one of the littler, like, there's some optional charts to get you to the elbow, and then you separate the sleeves. When I just was like about this far and just had a ton of light gray, I was really questioning if the colors were going to work, but I am so happy with this. I think it's going to be gorgeous, and I am proud that I made this in 2 days, especially because I did have to do some ladder backs. It's hard to see, but that I'm pretty sure is a ladder. So those are some ladders. Yeah, there's my floats. so these are just regular floats, but basically the floats that are longer than about 5 stitches, I planned out in the chart and made these ladders. My ladders don't look that great. They get pretty stretched out on the back of it. But yeah, this was a chaotic thing to do. I did not start the week knowing that I was going to be making this. I'm just glad that I'm done with most of the ladders. I'm up to some charts now where there's like the charts that are coming up. I'm not going to have so many ladders, so I just speed knit through the worst of the color work. I actually, the first day I did this, when I stopped about here, I did have to stop because I was using my shorter size 7 circular needle at the time, and it was cramping up my left hand to be like yanking on the weight of all these stitches. I don't know what to say about it. I mean, it's a paid pattern, so I can't really tell you that much about it, but I'm proud of it. As I was making it, I was just like shocked at myself at how fast this was going, because this obviously was like quite an ordeal to make, especially when I was getting to the rows here at the bottom that are really, really long, and this has even more stitches because it's wider. I think I'm already at over 300 stitches for it, so yeah. This is what I made. This is, let's see. So this is what I made in the 6 days that I was home with COVID. 1 sock-ish. Don't look at the cuff. We're not counting the cuff. And remember, we're only counting 75% of the blanket. And then I made most of this t-shirt. And then this. There you go. That's a lot of knitting. I'm not sorry. I don't regret doing it at all. And it's totally okay if you don't knit like this when you're sick. I've had 5 COVID shots. This is my 2nd time having it, and I'm typically only ever sick with anything for a day, so I just kind of decided this is what I was going to do. I was just going to speed knit as much stuff as I could. Oh, I forgot to add, I did do like maybe 1 inch of my Vare sleeves. I did that on Thursday while I was deciding what to do next. And then sometime over the weekend, this one's good the way it is. This one's going to be magic loop. I put the sleeves onto these little size 30 circulars because having 9 double pointed needles and having to knit on that many double points just to do a row was slowly driving me insane. So these are finally big enough, they're balloon sleeves, that I could get them on these needles. I guess the only other upcoming project we could talk about is, while I have been doing my organizing here, this is my autumn doodle cowl that I was in the process of making. It's on scrap yarn last fall, and it was getting to be October, and I realized I wasn't going to be done in time to wear it, maybe even November, for that much of fall. So I just put it down for the winter, and I think I'm gonna knit a lot of it in September when I'm starting to get in the fall mood. I don't want to start it early because I really want to enjoy making it like when there's actually fall vibes in the air, and it's 83 degrees in my house and very sweaty right now, so I'm not really feeling the pumpkins. So these are some of my DK scraps that I think are gonna be good. I don't know why this is all curly, what project I had made with that, but these are some of the scraps that I put in a bag for the fall doodle cowl for finishing that. And then this bag of scraps, oh no, is some alpaca scraps and some gray yarn that's fuzzy and some extra dark gray yarn. And I finally found like a scarf project that's meant for this alpaca yarn. So I'm going to be working on that for fall. Yeah, and that's a lot of what my scraps are. I don't have that much extra yarn right now. I have some socks planned. I'm going to make my husband socks with this yarn. This is for me. It's so pretty. It's gorgeous. So I'm going to make myself probably 2 pairs of socks with this yarn. I thought about making it into a shirt, but I only have 1 skein. Yeah, it's just going to be... Maybe I should make some kind of shawl with it. Like a little scarf. I don't know. But this is probably going to be socks. And then these are going to be socks from my mother-in-law. And those are my only full skeins of sock yarn. The rest of it is just all scraps. Here, I can show you. Let's just do a little tiny yarn tour. Welcome to Under Consumption Knitting. These are my projects that I made in July that I just showed you. As I said, I finally have a plan for this here bag of rainbow jewel tone wool. I'm going to make a light sweater with that, which I'm very excited about. These were donated to me. I've made 1 prayer shawl. I'm planning to make 2 more. It's not my fault that I have these. I did not buy them. I did not volunteer for this. I just inherited someone else's leftovers. All of this is empty. Those bags are empty. This is my veer. I incorporated a lot of leftovers into it, and I'm working on the sleeves. These leftovers are just going to be black sock yarn, so very easy to use. Like I said, these are some leftovers that I'm making into a t-shirt. These are, this is the yarn for my sunny Swoncho. There's the rest of the red is in that bag. That's the Swoncho I brought as an example. I made this sweater last year, and the cuffs, I did a picot bind off, but I'm an idiot and it curls. So I'm gonna need to redo the hems, and I'm thinking about making it longer because I wasn't wearing it enough because it's kind of an awkward length. So I have those scraps, and I'm thinking I'm gonna maybe try to make it longer and see if I like it more. There's no leftover yarn in this basket, it's just supplies. So these are some vintage. All of my supplies are secondhand. So these supplies were probably from somebody who passed away, from the charity knitting group I used to do. These are more my needles and more of the supplies that go with those same needles. This is embroidery stuff I've never used because I'm interested in embroidery, but I haven't started it yet. This is my advent project that's done. I bought this cotton yarn recently so that I can make some dishcloths with it. So I'm just gonna make a set of dishcloths and give them to people and see if we like them or not. That's my sewing box just for repairs. There's really nothing else in this basket. These are leftover fluffy boucle yarn, some alpaca. I think the blue and white is very wintry, so I'm planning to make like a hat with it for sure next winter, so maybe starting sometime in December. And then, like I said, here is some scraps that work for my fall cowl. This is for my father-in-law's bee sweater. These are sock projects I have planned. This is the alpaca yarn that I'm making a scarf with. I have a pattern picked out for that. We will see it this fall. And then this is my basket of leftovers. I do not know what to do with some of these. This is a nice like lavender gray color. I'm thinking I might actually make myself a shirt with those also. A good amount of this leftover basket is just this super bulky yarn that my brother got me for Christmas. That it's so bulky I don't know what to do with it, but I mean, it's yarn like that is just meant to be a winter accessory. I don't know what to do with this. Let me know if you have ideas. This is a pretty small basket. So there's just a little bit of leftovers in there. And then these are my sock yarn leftovers. As you can see, I have like the ones that are just barely a couple yards. Tiny little balls of leftovers there. There's projects to make with those. I forget the name of one of them. A lot of these I do have socks already planned for that I showed in my last video, but I don't think it's going to be hard to use these up. And then we're right back around to where we started. This is my most difficult to use scraps. The lighting is not good. You can see these are like sparkly baby yarn scraps from when I did charity knitting, and just bulky, scratchy acrylic scraps that are not very useful. These bags of scraps I'm going to use as stuffing if I make like ornaments or garland or something, which I am considering doing. There's just more. I'm so sorry about the lighting, yikes. There's just more really thick, not useful scraps. More stuffing for ornaments. And then these are leftovers from my Advent blanket. So yeah, I'm not hiding yarn either. There's no other yarn in the house. Like, this is all of it. This is all of the yarn that I have. And a lot of it, the projects are already kind of spoken for. It's a bag of sock stuff. Those are sock plans. And, yeah. So everything that I don't know what it's for fits in this little basket. So if we keep knitting at this rate, by the end of 2024, I am not really going to have any stash that I'm trying to work on the scraps. This is just me justifying why it's okay that there's more yarn coming in the mail today. Thank you for joining me today here in my guest room for what I knit during my COVID quarantine, July 2024. It's really going around, so if you can, try not to get sick, but I hope that you're doing well. Let me know if you have any questions about anything or if there's anything you would like to see. I probably should do some kind of fall project planning video, but we'll see. I know, I look so warm. It's because I am warm. It's because we don't use our air conditioning. Hope that you have a good week. Bye-bye!